Who's from Quinn? Okay, Quinn is somebody who tells us things. Okay, Quinn is now not only connected but is reviewing our questions. And the questions that we want to bring up are, first of all, Quinn's questions for the Oracle. Okay, who is the Oracle? Rumpelstiltskin is the Oracle, and he understands oracles. But given that Rumpelstiltskin is not necessarily available, we might have to have someone else step in, and that's probably going to be me. So let's go to the phones. And the first question we have is from someone whose nickname is Short Circuit. They're asking questions in all kinds of weird languages. They're not understood by me. I do know their real languages. It's like I don't understand anything to do with electricity and how electricians wire a house, but I know there's a knowledge base there. I know it's there because people do, they go to college and they access all of this knowledge. So I know it's a real language when they talk in all those formulas that they use for electricity. I just don't know it. So that would be the one level of your knowingness. The next question is, what happens at Claridad Central? Okay, Claridad is the idea that you're having a dream, and in the dream, you're doing things. You're changing realities. You're a mover and a shaker. You might appear to be a very small person who works as a Walmart checkout girl to the 3D person. But to the fifth dimensional and higher person, you might be the fulcrum upon which the whole world changes. And your aura is in the presence of so many people in your town. They walk by you and their aura interacts with your aura. So if you're empathic, you should be able to be really good at explaining to people how people feel because you've sampled so many people every day. Next question. Somebody wants to ask us about nothing to do with vitamin C, but more to do with not DNA, more to do with how do you get a really good tasting orange? And the answer should be, well, you have to try and figure it out. What particular taste of orange are you looking to accentuate? Do you want like an orange crush soda pop? Or do you want some fresh, not frozen orange juice direct from Florida? Or you want some mandarin oranges from Morocco? Or you want some Asian oranges, the ones that were traditionally from Japan. It has very good reputation up until Fukushima as being really good, tasty oranges. When I was young, I would only eat those kind of oranges. The regular kind, no, I'd want to barf. So yeah, and then at some point, the stock that started coming in from over there started coming in from like China. And the original boxes that came over from China, the oranges weren't nearly as good as the Japanese trees. So I would say, mm, the Chinese oranges that we had this year were much better. Were they up to Japanese? No. Japanese ones were like candy. They would come in a box, and you can keep the box afterwards and store your stuff in it. And these would come in December, so they would just be a box like this that your oranges would come in. This one is a product of Korea. And it wasn't from this year. That box is being used for like Christmas decoration. So, next question for the oracle is we're going to stop the video here and do more questions for the oracle later. Just because somebody says we should stop at 5 minutes because no one's going to listen for the whole long time. I bet you there are some people that will. Nevertheless, if we keep them small, then maybe it's easier to do these things. Okay, that guy left, and the new guy here has got the orange hat on, and he's going to remind you about Quinn that I talked about in the last video. What do we want to know about Quinn? Quinn is somebody that we get information from. Somebody wants to know, is Quinn something or some other descriptor? And the answer is, we're not going to go and give you anything more than that for the purposes of keeping you doing your own investigations and not looking to me to explain the whole situation with Quinn. But is there a Quinn in your life? And the answer is yes, you're looking at Quinn in your life. What does this Quinn want to tell you? This Quinn says you might not even have anybody who is Irish, but Quinn is considered Irish to us. And so you want to connect to the leprechauns and the pot of gold and just being cheery all the time and not being mean-spirited. That's the lessons from Quinn tonight. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Yeah, yo, I got nothing to tell you anew, 'cause I ain't been making up nothing for your screw. I got myself a lucker, I never got a nicker, and I never come back to you. Okay, Killex is like a bug killer, I think. But it could be like the name of like a rapper. No, I can't quite go use Killark, but I was going to call it Killex. Like rhymes with Skrillex. See, that ain't gonna work. That's too cheesy. I'm not gonna rhyme with Skrillex and call myself Killex. No, this is not going to work this way. This way, it's the electric company. The School of Electric. It's somebody thinks it's the flag of Claridad Central. No, it's Earth Coincidence Control Office. No one understands what that is. I explained it in a previous video. It had to do with Dr. John Lilly. Dr. John Lilly was a very strange man. He was a PhD in like psychology, and he really wanted to initiate contact with dolphins. He wanted to be able to communicate human to dolphin, and he got involved with doing like he invented the float tank. You know, that's the tank full of nice warm water with lots of salt in it that you can float in. He invented that. And then he used to take the spiritual drug ketamine and go in his tank. I think that's dangerous. I think it's very dangerous to go into a float tank when you are high on K. Because people keep talking about these things called K-holes. And I don't really know what a K-hole is, but it didn't sound like you were really in control of anything to do with your body in a K-hole. And if you're in a water, and you could easily drown if you become paralyzed in a K-hole while you're. But nevertheless, Dr. Lilly did this, and he would go on a psychedelic inner journey trip. And from that information, we learned about various extraterrestrial beings, including Earth Coincidence Control Office. And as near as we can gather, this group is in charge of creating synchronicities in our life to give us a clue that we're doing, I don't know. James Redfield, in his Celestine Prophecy book, did say these synchronicities mean something. It means, I think that you're on your spiritual mission. If you're seeing synchronicities, you're on your spiritual mission. And if you're not seeing synchronicities, but you're hearing about other people seeing, I don't know if that's even happening. I don't know. No one ever talks about if they've seen a coincidence too much. You know, I just don't. But maybe you should, and I hate the word should, just because I don't really want to tell you what to do, except I do want you to consider things that you never heard of before and are not in your own database of things that are like options. Okay, this is Truth Squad, and we want to go back to this thing. It said it's a Quinn thing you wouldn't understand. Why is that? Well, this could be any Irish name. Just put in any Irish name. It's a Irish name. So let's go with Finn, Finn, thing. It's a Finn thing. You wouldn't understand. It just means that you have to be like either a Finn or someone who knows a Finn, and you just know what Finns are like. Maybe you've met more than one person with the name Finn, and you'll get sort of a really good idea of. It's uncanny, but people, that have the name Karen are being dragged through the dirt these days. They're supposed to be really stupid if you're a Karen these days. It's also known as a bleeding heart liberal. No, a Karen is not. A Karen is a narcissist who can't see that we have an enormous homeless problem because they never think it's a problem when people have nowhere to live. They're Karen. They're just like privileged people. Are they just dumb? Um, Is it dumb or ignorance or deliberate malice? I'll leave that one for you. Next question for Truth Squad. Let's go to never-ending stories about destruction of our forests on planet Earth. A never-ending questions as to didn't we deal with this like 40 years ago? Like a big human outcry about forests that are old forests and cutting them down to make toothpicks or chopsticks or to be in someone's private lodge. Look at this rare old stuff. It's 1,000-year-old tree, and I cut it down, and now I'm living in this house. Like, isn't this tree like the wood? Isn't it like better than wood that's specially grown for use by humans? No, I had to have this one. They cut it special for me. I paid a premium price, but I still have a lot of fridges over there in North America. It's this attitude of simply, what would you call that? It's just like ego blindness to reality. This hat is giving me kind of a funny shade. Okay, anything else? No, we don't want to do Truth Squad anymore. We're done with doing Quinn, and for the last bit of this, we're going back to our hat, which is about steel chainsaws and their use for cutting down trees. So this particular hat says, yeah, we make things other than that too. Weed whippers, perhaps. The whole point of it is, this one says TNC small engine. So a place where they fix steel things. Good for you. Because when you do need a chainsaw, you need it. The chainsaw.